And thanks so much for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Bill Steffen. We have a lot to talk about. And boy, I tell you, have you been enjoying this sunshine? 5 consecutive days have been mostly sunny here. We're kind of making up for the winter. By the way, today, I'll have to talk to Michelle about this. Today is the anniversary of the big superstorm, 1993, that dumped 13 inches of snow in Birmingham, Alabama. So we'll see what Michelle says about that. Let's take a look right now at what would satellite picture look like today, and something very interesting was going on. The wind shifted direction, and today was coming out of the east. And look at the ice along the shore. It's moved away from shore a little bit during the day today. All that ice was accumulated along the west shore of Lake Michigan with a prevailing westerly wind. All of a sudden, the wind goes east. And could you imagine if you were trying to ice fish out there and that was really ice? I mean, you'd be afloat out there in the lake. So I know that's happened before to people on Green Bay and on Saginaw Bay and on Lake Erie too. So you really have to be aware of what the wind is doing. But east wind today pushing that ice away from shore. I want to remind you again about the moon. We got that lunar eclipse coming up tonight, Thursday night into early Friday. We'll be seeing our temperatures here on the cool side, but not terribly cold for this time of year. And if you want to head out, the eclipse peaks at 3 a.m. So set your alarm, get up early, get up late, and take a look. The moon won't totally disappear, but it certainly will look kind of reddish and dim as it passes through the Earth's shadow. Here's a look at how much snow there is on the ground. While there's no snow here in over most of our area, there is to the north. I saw the snow stick with 6 inches at Gaylord during the day today, and there are still several places up in the UP that have more than 30 inches of snow on the ground. Fortunately, it's been melting a little bit without a lot of flooding there, so hopefully that trend will continue. Taking a look right now at some weather notes for you. First of all, no measurable snow here since February the 19th. That's a long stretch that we've gone here without any measurable snow. Quite a gradient of temperatures across the area today. Indianapolis had a high temperature of 75, Grand Rapids 51, but if you were up on Mackinac Island, the high temperature was barely above freezing at 33. All locations became mostly sunny during the afternoon, but once our wind goes to the south, that Indianapolis air is going to be up here into Grand Rapids and West Michigan come on Friday. And the 5 mostly sunny days in a row, sunrise time now before 8 o'clock in the morning. I'll take a look right now at our sponsors. We have 2 sponsors to share with you. Hope you pay attention.
When your home needs help, you might not know where to start. Why not ask Ace? We're always here to help with Ace Handyman Services. Our talented craftsmen handle everything from drywall and carpentry to doors and kitchens. We're the neighbors you trust to get the job done right. Let's get started. Book your handyman appointment today. Ace Handyman Services, bringing helpful to your home.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Yeah, that's a good idea for this time of year too. We're spring cleaning and all of that, Michelle, and we got the outside of your house and the inside of your house all taken care of.
That's true. Our sponsors can take care of whatever you need. And we are so thankful to have our sponsors. It's so much fun. They're local businesses. They can support you with whatever you need. Complete Care Concierge LLC can clean your home, can clean your business. They can do a one-time clean. They can do on a repeated basis. They serve all of West Michigan. So if you're in West Michigan, are you in their service area? Yes, you are. Just give them a call at 616-264-1397. And we'd like to thank them and Ace Handyman Services of Grand Rapids so much for coming on board with us and being our sponsors. We're having so much fun. So thank you.
Okay, let's continue on with weather because we got more to talk about. Partly and mostly sunny skies here for the next couple of days. Dry weather expected here through Friday. Showers and a possible storm for Friday night, and some showers expected on Saturday too, especially during the morning. And it gets windy on Saturday. I could see some wind gusts here over 40 miles an hour. So again, if you got some outdoor plans here on Saturday, keep in mind it's going to turn out to be a very windy day here in West Michigan. Let's take a look at snow across the country. Nothing much for Michigan over the next 3 days, though there is some snow that this system is going to start to produce in western Minnesota, and that will head up toward Canada. And look at all the snow out west. Golly, that looks like January out there. And they continue to get really nailed out in the Sierra Nevada mountains of California. We'll zoom in a little bit here and show you some of the warnings that are in effect and some of the red color there where they're expecting the heaviest snow. And look at this information here from the Sacramento National Weather Service. They're expecting snow accumulations of 1 to 3 feet, not inches, with locally up to 4 feet possible. And this is through the day today. Winds gusting as high as 80 miles an hour on some of the ridges. And again, I mean, you really can't do anything in weather like that, but stay inside or get out of the way, because 80 miles an hour is getting to the point where it's going to start downing some trees and power lines and causing some outages there as well. And you can see that band of heavy snow through the Cascades of Washington and Oregon down through California. And the lower elevations will be seeing heavy rain. So that will certainly be an issue. There'll be some local flooding out there as well. Here's a look at today's weather here. We stay dry, 60 this afternoon, quite a climb from the upper 20s here this morning. Humidity is low. That means fire danger is up there, and that will be increasing a little bit on Friday here as winds start to peak a little bit. But humidity down to 40% this afternoon, winds east to southeast and light at 5 to 10 miles an hour. It'll be interesting to see if the lake breeze can overcome that and have the wind turn to the west here a little bit for a couple of hours there along the lakeshore. But in general, winds will be out of the east-southeast. Let's take a look at some high temperatures across the area here. Low 60s today, 62 or 63 down there at Kalamazoo. And look at all the 70s down there to the south in Indiana, Illinois, and down into southern southwest Ohio. The forecast for Friday calls for temperatures to zoom all the way up into the low 70s here. We're expecting 72 for Grand Rapids. I wouldn't be surprised if someplace down toward the Indiana border actually made 75 here Friday afternoon. I think the day will be dry, but there will be a chance for showers and storms Friday night, probably mainly after midnight. So if you got something to do Friday evening, it should still be warm and pleasant out there. Let's take a look at Saturday. Saturday's high temperatures will likely occur either after midnight or during the early morning, and then temperatures will fall in the afternoon. So those are the temperatures, starting at midnight, but I expect temperatures to fall perhaps all the way down into the 40s towards evening, and with that strong southwest to west wind coming in here, bringing in that cooler air. A little bit on the 5-day forecast here. Pleasant day coming up for you today. A windy day on Saturday. You can see clouds increase here Friday afternoon, and they're with us here for much of the day on Saturday and Sunday and into Monday. By Monday afternoon, it should be partly sunny, and wind should die down a little bit. Sunday will still be kind of breezy. There may be a rain shower or two, nothing heavy. Could be a snowflake or two mixed in, but wouldn't be significant at all. Now on to the odds of severe weather across the area and our long-range outlook. This is the 8 to 14-day outlook, continuing to give us above average temperatures, cool in the west and warm in the east. And that takes us almost toward the end of the month of March here. Let's take a look at the rainfall outlook. Again, that green indicating above average precipitation, and that would be in the form of rain. I don't see any real significant snow coming here, but it's early. We don't normally see snow end on February the 19th, so keep in mind that winter likely not over yet. Now take a look at the severe weather outlook for later on this afternoon. It does include Alabama, Michelle, including the Birmingham area. And you can see that's actually the first city that's mentioned down on the bottom. There's a green bar down there on the bottom of the graphic that kind of shows where some of the cities are that are going to be affected by this. That's only a marginal or level 1 outlook, but look what happens here on Friday. That's a level 3 or enhanced outlook from Mississippi and Alabama north into Illinois. We expect a number of reports of wind damage, trees and power lines down, maybe some building damage, and the possibility for scattered tornadoes. So anybody that's doing any traveling south of Chicago or South Bend here Friday afternoon and Friday night could run into a pretty potent storm. On Saturday, the severe weather shifts just to the east of us. Timing is such that we kind of miss out here in West Michigan, at least I hope so. But there's still an enhanced outlook, which is centered pretty much right over Alabama. So another round of very heavy and maybe even severe storms expected here Saturday and Saturday night. And then finally on Sunday, we have a chance for severe weather along coastline here. So have your severe weather plan ready for you, and be prepared to take action if need be down there. You got a couple of good severe weather chances coming for everybody down there in the south.
You mentioned the superstorm of 1993. So we have enough of an accent down here that people will ask where we're from. And when we say Michigan, they tell us about the one time that it snowed 30 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah,
that was an amazing storm. It snowed all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. I have a picture somewhere of Defuniak Springs, Florida, with 6 inches of snow on the ground.
Wow.
It's awful late in the year to be talking snow like that. I think the heaviest snow was Grandfather Mountain, North Carolina, had 48 inches of snow.
Wow.
From that storm. And there was a band of super heavy snow that went from Alabama all the way up toward New York and New England. And we got
the snow event we had this year was significant too.
Yeah. Well, look at that. And that went, can you imagine a snowstorm going south of Birmingham?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And we'll see about the lunar eclipse. Depending on how things go at work, I might still be up at that hour. So we'll see.
Well, I mean, all the pilot would have to do is go a few miles up and, where they fly at, 38,000 feet and you'd be able to get a good view of the moon up there.
And wow, 71 degrees in Michigan on Friday. That's amazing. Yeah, definitely something.
I have crocuses in bloom. I didn't quite get a chance to get that slide out there, but we'll get that on here in the next couple of days.
The roller coaster of March.
That's Tom Izzo.
Okay, so promising things for the Spartans. It's so exciting to see how they do in the playoffs. He was named Big 10 Coach of the Year, and 17-3 for the conference this year. I think I read that it's his 4th time winning Big 10 Coach of the Year, and they begin tournament play soon.
And Michigan State, Dusty May was I don't know what the vote was, but I would guess he might have been in 2nd place. Both Michigan and Michigan State had great years this year.
And I'm one of those people who totally makes their bracket emotionally. So we'll have them ranked pretty high.
Yeah, and they have an experienced coach there, and they could go a ways into the maybe the Elite 8 or so. Who knows? Maybe all the way.
Speaking of playoffs, MHSAA boys basketball playoffs are continuing with semifinals and finals the next few days at the Breslin Center. Grand Rapids Catholic Central and Tri-Unity Christian. Good luck to both of those teams. And girls basketball playoffs, they lag a little bit behind. We've got quarterfinals going on next week, and then semifinals and finals to happen at the Breslin Center after that.
Yeah, awesome. We really
lots of exciting stuff there.
Yeah, and good quality basketball in many of these games too. You think high school, but some of these kids are really polished and can really shoot and dribble.
Yes, and then some of them will grow up and take the bar exam, and then their time in the Breslin Center, it won't be their first time down on the floor.
You ever see a basketball game there?
I'm experienced because I played in the basketball finals at the Breslin Center, so I know what it's like to be here, and then they'll be less nervous for their bar exam.
Yeah, that could be.
It's a great plan.
Yeah.
Okay, so this question came in from a viewer. We plan on going to Myrtle Beach, leaving on the 24th. Sounds fun. What site would you go to monitor the fires, smoke, and air quality? And
you have the answer.
A great one. Airnow.gov. You can put in the location, and it gives you air quality and factors that go into it. And it's really cool. So,
yeah, it doesn't look too bad down there at that time. And the West has calmed down quite a bit too. So we're worried a little bit here in the Midwest for Friday, because we do expect some gusty winds, and it has been dry around here for a while. There's a lot of dry brush out there.
All right, and there's a picture of me in Myrtle Beach. So I hope you have a wonderful time on your trip.
Yeah.
Okay, so this question came in, and I asked you if you wanted to talk about it, and you said, why not? So I guess why not? So not to ask a loaded political question, but what are Bill's thoughts on this topic below involving the cuts at NWES? What are you hearing from some of your colleagues in Michigan? So we're going to both offer opinions. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, and I hate to plead ignorance, but I haven't really followed as to what the cuts were. I'm not doing, the TV broadcasting. I'm not really in contact with the other meteorologists very much right now. I did do a retirees luncheon today, and George Lessons was there, but we didn't talk. We didn't talk this topic at all.
We need to invite
we
him
were
on the
back on what
show.
happened in the 1980s, and when we first got computer graphics and radar and the upgrade and all that kind of stuff. So, it's hard for me to say unless I know what the cuts were. I would hope that they have not cut. The forecasters. I don't know who's all. I think it's part of NOAA in general, which is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. It's a big group, but I'm curious. I would like to find out about what the cuts have been like and where they have come from.
Right.
I would hope. I mean, obviously the meteorologists that I've worked with at the National Weather Service are extremely intelligent and gifted people, and they do a real service. They work on shifts. I mean, weather goes on 24/7, so there's got to be somebody there at night and on Christmas Day and all that. And
even when there's inclement weather.
Sure. And I mean, take a look at what the meteorologists are going to be doing at the Storm Prediction Center here over the next several days. They'll be issuing tornado watches and following the local radars and everything. And there's a lot that goes into something like that. And that's something that's demonstrably improved. Take a look at the number of people that were killed in tornadoes back in the 1920s and 1930s compared to what it is today. And a lot of that is because of the warnings and watches that are issued by the National Weather Service.
Right. And is that something that the private sector would replicate if it had to, if that service wasn't there? Probably some of it, but probably not all of it.
Yeah.
We still need someone to tell us when to go run and hide. And where is the private entity that would make that up? I don't know that there is one. To some extent, I do think like businesses subscribe to legislative services and they tell them what they need to do for compliance and what new legislation that there is. I do think things like that would develop because weather is so important to so many industries like shipping and transportation. But for the public safety aspect, which is a function of government, I did look it up. So where in the Constitution is the authority to do this? And Article 1, Section 8, the Congress General Welfare section, regulation of the land and naval forces, it could be in there too. It is something that we can do. The question is just how much.
Computer crashed on me there.
Where did I lose you?
Thanks for treading water there for a while.
Oh, I was in the middle of a soliloquy about the functions of the federal government.
Oh,
so that's
go
another
ahead.
question is, should it be federal or should it be state? But interstate cooperation on weather is extremely important. And that's what the federal government is there to do, is to do the things that the state can't do. On a personal level, any job loss is horrible. I'm a millennial, so I definitely understand job insecurity. I have a law degree and I'm still hedging my bets with a second job. So from a personal level, is it awful if anyone loses their job ever? Yes. Does that mean that these cuts are good or bad? Not necessarily. So there's just so many hard questions. There was a significant increase in staff in the last year or two. So if the goal of the cuts was to bring it back down to that level, would that impair critical services? I don't know. And that's where I kind of get to at the end of this, is that I'm not an expert. I'm not a meteorologist. I'm not an executive in there with all that information. I don't feel that I have the tools to know for sure or have a strong opinion or judge the decisions that were made either way, to add the staffing or to cut it. I just don't know enough to say if what they're doing is right or wrong.
Well, as a lawyer, you should know that the duties of the federal government, as spelled out in its early days, were basically to provide for the common defense and to make sure that interstate commerce was constructed in a good fashion. So,
do you want to guess how many words are in the Constitution?
How many words? Okay,
and to be fair, I looked it up. It's not something they teach in law school. No, 4,543.
Yeah,
the transcript of this will be longer.
But Yeah, and I said that's something that the federal government didn't want, let's say, Indiana putting confiscatory tolls on anything that was going from Cleveland to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's worked well over the years, but the NOAA is part of the Department of Commerce, and you would think that would be a legitimate federal issue for just about everybody.
Right. Well, and then there's the national defense aspect of it. There's lots of meteorologists that are involved in our national defense because it's that important to that.
Right.
So
and air travel. I don't know how many times I've given a pilot update to somebody to.
So yes, is what they're doing a critical service? Yes, but in terms of judging what's been done, I don't feel that I have the knowledge to know.
Right. I would like to know where the cuts have been. I can't imagine that they're going to cut anybody that's in a critical role. I mean, they're not. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to keep up with the news and all that, but we haven't actually cut air traffic controllers, have we? We haven't gone up there and said, well, you got 12 controllers, get rid of 6 of them. We haven't done that.
I don't know. So we went there. We talked about it. There you go. Okay, so on this day 5 years ago, this was the day that the government shut down travel to and from 26 European countries. So it was 5 years ago in this time period that the COVID restrictions and lockdowns were coming into effect. Does it really feel like it's been 5 years?
5 years is a long time. And I remember hanging out here in the man cave. We were doing weather from here. I was amazed at how seamless the transition went from doing weather in the studio to doing weather and news from private homes. I kudos to our engineers that put that together. I didn't go out of the house for a month. I didn't cut my hair for 5 months. It was getting pretty shaggy. By the way, I have a haircut scheduled for later today. But
I can't believe it's been 5 years.
5 years. That's something.
So is that what you did with your time? You did your broadcasting?
We did broadcasting from down here. I would make up the forecast, and I would call into the station, and somebody there would make some graphics for me. And then they would just come to me, and I had an earpiece in here just like I do in the studio. And
I went back and I got my high school diploma in piano. That's what I did with my COVID time.
That's right. And it had something to do with Britain, didn't it?
Yeah, it's a British program where you can effectively get a high school diploma on an instrument, and you've got to take an exam at the end. It took hours and hours. I only finished it this past year. I think it took 4 years. But anyways.
There are different levels.
Yeah. We all found ways to fill our time.
Oh my, there's an old picture.
And who are you with?
That's Peter Chan. You remember him from doing the weather on Channel 17, WXMI?
Well, I remember him because his parents had a pool and we used to go swimming there.
Yeah, I tell you an interesting story. His mother just passed away recently. She called me up and said, I've got this kid that's really interested in weather. Can he come down and, talk to you at the station? I said, oh, sure. Come on down. So I brought him down. And he was this true weather nut, and I think he was 10 years old at the time, and he'd already learned all of this weather. So I was really impressed. So we had a nice time. We kind of hit it off. And this was the first year I was here. It was like 1974. I had come in November, so it was getting in December, and I had no place to go for Christmas. And Jan Chan said, why don't you come over to our house for Christmas? And I thought, okay, why not? So I went there, and Peter was the oldest of 7 kids who were between baby and like 10, 11 years old. Peter was the oldest. And this is a little bit later. This is probably 1975. I think I've got it listed there. And that was, I believe, in their swimming pool, which hadn't been filled yet for the season. But they made a cake there, and it was kind of neat. They've been good friends. Peter is up in Alaska right now, and he's doing some weather broadcasting for the National Weather Service in Alaska, and he is an awesome fisherman. But I think Peter is either 60 or 61 years old now. And I am 73, just about to turn 74. So Time flies when you're having
How old
fun.
am I? How old am I, Bill?
See, you were born in 82. Okay, so that's 18 plus 25. It'd be 43, but your
Nope.
birthday's not until September.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you did pretty good.
Yeah. So if we have to subtract one there.
Yeah. Yeah,
So we
there you
got
go.
18, 25, 43 minus 142.
Yeah. Okay. And where are you now?
That I believe is on a dune buggy ride. I've really enjoyed the dune buggy rides out there. We've done, how many times have I done that? 5 or 6, maybe
Yeah.
even 7.
This is not a sponsored post. We just like them.
Yeah, yeah. That goes back to my father. Went to the old Jack and Jill Ranch to ride horses in the late 1930s. And when Mac Dunes was just putting the dunes together, and then of course it went to Pete Burns, and now it's into the 3rd generation up there.
Yeah, we need to do a little show on Floridale Resort.
Yes,
That was there on Silver Lake. We went there so many summers.
yeah, we had some, and the amount of fun we had. Remember talent night?
Mhm. I remember. So we'd go back to school, and they would do the "What did you do with your summer vacation?"
Yeah,
And little, I won't say what grade it is in because I don't want to give the teacher away. I'd say I went to Floridale for the summer with my family, and they would say, "Oh, honey, you went to Florida." And I would say, "No, I didn't. That's way further away. I went to Floridale." And they would say, "Oh, honey, you went to Florida." I was little. And I was finally just like, okay, I give up. Floridale, Florida. It was nice.
yeah. Well, it was. I think it's a lot of fun, and a lot of people don't know that the Silver Lake sand dunes are there.
Mm-hmm.
And they're really amazing. I mean, when I was single and I first got here that first year, 1975, I would leave early on a Saturday morning and go hiking around the dunes there.
Yeah, it's a great day trip.
Yeah,
Or not, or a long trip.
yeah.
All right, a couple of your photos. Thanks to Nancy Thomas. I heard from her. We're about to not get these anymore. She's coming back up north.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
There's a
Yep. So she can send us little
saguaro
photos
cactus there.
Yeah,
They hold
lovely.
water inside. So if you ever get stranded in a desert and you're parched and looking for water, try and cut open a cactus if you can get
How
through
do you cut open a cactus without hurting yourself?
very carefully. Very, very carefully.
And thank you to John Scully for this beautiful picture of Muskegon.
Yeah, I believe is that the moon?
I mean, look at the way it's reflecting on the lake. It doesn't even look real. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Isn't that something?
Mm-hmm. Looks like it could be a puzzle.
Yeah. And
With all the
thanks to
different
John. He
colors.
sends us lots of good pictures, and I hope you'll do that too.
Yes, send us your notable events, weather, and sports.
And let us know that we can show it here on the podcast, and you know, kind of fun to highlight you there.
All right, question of the day. If you could play in an orchestra, what instrument would you play?
Golly, I don't know. I have a guitar. I just don't know how to play it yet, and I really should do that. My brother's an amazing guitarist. He gave me a guitar once. I gave him a car. I don't know if that was a good deal or not. The car wasn't worth much. My father was a professional drummer for a while, played big band swing and jazz down in the hotels in the Chicago area. And my dad could also play a little violin. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, that was what he first started on, and then he branched off into the drums, and he was really good. He could play xylophone and any percussion instrument. So he was pretty amazing to be able to do that. My mother was an amazing piano player. My daughter number 3 is an amazing piano player, and I can play the kazoo, and that's about it. But yeah, it would be fun to play any instrument, really. But
maybe they need a kazoo in an orchestra.
Isn't there a kazoo band somewhere around here?
That's a good question. If there isn't, we should start one.
A bunch of kazoo players in a parade once. Yeah, I've done so many parades over the years. I love parades. I really do. Fun, make people laugh. You have a cat.
Yeah. Ollie says good night. He says more treats.
Jolly Ollie.
Mm-hmm. Ollie fur.
Ollie is the white cat, and then you have Rosie.
Yep.
Kind of a rose-colored cat.
She's outside. She loves the porch.
Mm-hmm. Well, keep an eye on them. We got some thunderstorms coming your way here over the next few days.
Yeah, they don't like those.
Mm-hmm. Sounds
All
good.
right. Well, good night. Enjoy
Yeah.
the nice
We're
weather.
gonna wrap things up here. Hope you have yourself an awesome day and enjoy the day tomorrow because we'll be up close to 70 degrees during the afternoon, 60 today. A couple good days back to back.